is actually very, very different. Yeah? What we have always thought about as education is how to help children really take on information, isn't it? How much can they learn? How much can we teach them? But Montessori's idea of education is to help the child to lead, to be able to lead a good life. Yeah? So when we talk about education, yeah, what is it that we want our children to actually learn? What is it that we want our children to develop in life? Is it that we want them to be able to just, putting aside just the ability to make money? If it's not about making money, what is it that we want our children to be able to grow up being able to do? What kind of person do we want our children to be? Do we stop to think about that, especially now in this situation when they're not coming to school? Yeah? And every parent is worried about the child not getting education. But I often say to parents, who worry about that, how many hours do they come to school? And how many hours are there in a day? So often parents think that the school can teach them more than what they are learning from being at home. But actually, our children, we've spoke about this over and over again, our children between birth and 6, every waking minute of the day, every experience that they have, every opportunity that they have to interact is helping them to create, to build their personality. Yeah. But what is this personality that we are thinking about? What is this ability? It is not just about gathering information. What is information? Information is in a way useless unless we actually understand it, isn't it? Unless we actually understand what this information is, and unless we also know how to use it, how to apply it, what it's for, and not only use it appropriately, isn't it? Every invention, every creation is wonderful, including atomic energy is wonderful. Yeah? Nuclear energy is wonderful, isn't it? But in the wrong hands, in the wrong person's hands, can be very bad, dangerous, can be misused. So how to use information is dependent on the character of a person. And I'll come back to that in a minute. I just want to come back to the idea of, we want to educate our children so that they lead a good life, so that they can enjoy life. Is that right? But what gives us pleasure in life? What helps us to enjoy life? To have interest, isn't it? When we're interested in something, we enjoy it, right? Those of you who love cooking, yeah? Cooking satisfies you, you enjoy it. Those of you who love music, listening to music uplifts your soul, doesn't it? It helps you to enjoy. But all these things that we enjoy, where has it come from? Where has it come from? I was listening to a man last night and he said he loved fishing. He loved fishing. He didn't learn that from school. Where did he love fishing from? Because he went out with his grandfather. at weekends to go fishing. My niece loves history because she spent a lot of time with my mother, who told her a lot about history, who talked a lot. Even before she could speak, my mother used to just explain about things, that they watched, that we visited. So now, as an adult, my niece loves history. So think about the things that we love. Where has it come from? Not really from school, right? It's from our experiences that we've had, not only with teachers, but with people we have come into contact with. And these people we've come into contact with, in a way, have drawn our attention, made us aware of things that are in our world around us. Yeah, whether it's fish, or whether it's birds, or whether it's music, or whether it's dance, or whether it's food. Yeah? How much pleasure food gives to a lot of us. Oh, at the moment, having been stuck at home for a year, I am so desperate, desperate to taste especially Indian food, I want to tell you. Can you believe I'm actually missing idlis and sambar? Why? I never knew about idlis and sambar until 17 years ago when I came. Yeah? But now all I want to do is to get the recipe, try it out, cook it, do it. So interest creates awareness, creates interest, interest creates love, love creates passion. So we need to think about those things when we are offering experiences to our children. And they don't even have to be conscious experiences. We don't always have to plan them. We just have to make sure that children have the opportunity, that they're exposed to these experiences. And as I said, when we're aware of something, when we become interested in something, don't we get excited about it? I never knew about birds until I did Montessori. Actually, until I did the course, I had no interest in birds. I never even noticed birds. But once I started the course, I couldn't help but keep looking around me all the time to see what birds I could see. In India, when we stand at the balcony, Ruku's always saying, "Oh, look, that's a kite. That's a stork. That's an egret." So once we become aware, we become excited. And when we become excited and interested, we begin to want to know more about something, don't we? And how many of you, I've spent a lot of time this year constantly looking up, things on the internet to find out more, because I have no access to the books. We're so lucky these days that we have access to a lot of information. But I want to find out more. The other experience that I've had recently is that I'm now growing vegetables. I'm now growing bindi, right? Bindi, what is aubergines? I'm growing aubergines. Every morning, the first thing I want to do when I get up, I go out to look at my vegetables. How much has it grown? Oh, the leaves are turning yellow. Why are they turned yellow? Some leaves are curling. I wanted to find out why they were curling. So immediately I came and I searched. Did you know that leaves curl up when it's too hot so that it doesn't lose water? When the sun is too hot, they turn in on themselves. I didn't know that. But I saw having experiences, like even growing vegetables, going for a walk, watching my flowers grow. has given me so much pleasure this year. You might think I'm deviating, yeah? But it's the idea of having opportunities, being aware, that makes us, that gives pleasure to our lives, that gives us something to live for. Can you imagine if I wasn't interested this year? How dull life would be. The other interest that has been sparked in me this year is listening to music. Listening to music, reading more, cooking more. So the idea of what we need for ourselves to enjoy life is interest, isn't it? Interest generates enjoyment. So when we talk about education, yeah, what we are giving in our Montessori environment that people think, that parents think that their child is missing, is that we try to offer the child many, many opportunities. Yeah? We try to draw their attention to the fact that there are different birds in their environment, that there are different trees, that there are different vegetables, so that the child will become interested and become aware and develop a passion, because that's what we want in our children, a passion for learning, isn't it? Wanting to know more, because through that, they are building this possibility for a better life. I want to come back to the idea of helping the child to become a better person. Because that's the main thing in the first 6 years of life. The aim of education is. Education, Montessori's idea of education is to help the child to live life. And we've talked about the idea of living, enjoying life. But how can we enjoy life? We have to actually build certain aspects of ourselves. Right? We have to be able to make choices, to know how to make choices, and to be able to make choices. And how are we able to make choices? Good choices is only through judgment, yes. Being able to judge, being able to compare. Especially nowadays, you think of all that information out there. Yeah. We hear a lot of information. To be able to listen to information, take in information, and to be able to decide, yeah, to be able to decide whether what we're hearing is true or not. It's very, very difficult, isn't it? What helps us is not always saying, okay, I believe exactly what she says. Let me find out. Let me go and listen. Yeah, let me go and find out what other people are saying, and then make that decision for myself. Isn't that important? Not to follow what other people think, but to be able to think for ourselves. What else do we need as a person? When we talk about good character, to be a strong person, we need to be a person who can actually commit, make commitments, isn't it? When we say we're going to do something, we really are going to do it. Yeah? And we say we're going to do something, we actually finish what we do. It's always easy to start. It's always easy to start. but it's not so easy to finish. The ability to persevere. We need to be independent, don't we, in order to function well. We need to not depend on others, either physically or emotionally. We need to be able to say, I can do it. I can solve these problems, and have the confidence to do so, to keep at it. And in order to also function in life, we need to be able to problem solve. Yeah, not always, again, not needing someone else to do it for us, feeling that we can solve a problem. To function efficiently, we need to be organized, we need to know how to plan. And we've talked a lot about helping the child do all this, right? Through activities, through experiences. They can only create it themselves. We cannot make them like that. We cannot teach them to be like that. They can only become like that through their interactions and experiences in the environment. So that is what we do in a Montessori environment when they come to our schools. It is remembering all these things that the child is developing and what they need in order to develop them. In order to develop these characteristics, what kind of experiences do they need? And as I said earlier on, the child only comes for 3-4 hours, 5 at the most, to our environment, and they're 24 hours in the day. So the child needs these experiences all the time. So it's not only in the environments at school. But what do we offer, which you can offer, which guides us to offer these experiences in our homes and in our schools? Because I want to just remind or tell you that the Montessori environments that we set up, Montessori calls them the children's houses. Because nowadays in our life, the children don't have that opportunity at home. Sometimes to just be. Yeah? Now we have busy lives, we live in smaller families. But what the children's house offers the children is, in a way, a big family of mixed ages, with things they can do, with activities they can do in their own time. So we don't have a schedule. And what's important that we offer the child is free choice. We have all these activities. You can have, you don't even have to have all these activities. But the main thing we offer our children is free choice. Because if you think about free choice, it helps to build what we talked about, the ability to judge, the ability to commit, because when in our environments, when they choose to do something, we have the expectation that they finish what they do. We help the child to finish what they have committed to. You've chosen it. That's why we don't tell children what to do. We encourage children to make those choices. So from the minute a child walks into our environment, we show the child, we help the child to understand how to function freely in that environment, how to make choices. But we also help the child to understand that those choices that they make have consequences and need to be committed to. And also the fact that when they come into our environments, we help them to feel that they are, they need to be a contributing member of the community. Yeah. Because that's what a human being has to be developed into, a contributing member of society, right? So as soon as the child comes in, they need to realize that the environment they've come into is not only for themselves, it's for everybody. And everybody is as important as them. Yeah? Especially nowadays with children at home, you know, they're often the only child. So all the attention is focused on them. So that's why we have less adults to children. Yeah? Because the more adults focusing on the children don't have the opportunity to actually be themselves, isn't it? So for those of you who haven't been had an opportunity yet to come into a Montessori environment, I'd just like to share, you know, the kind of things that happen, the kind of expectations we have for our children. That keep linking it back to all the ideas I spoke on earlier, yeah, about the experiences they need to build character. So the first thing we help them to do is to come into the class independently, yeah? To walk there carrying their own bags. They're strong enough. From the age of 1, the child has wanted to lift, carry, right? So we give them that feeling of I'm quite capable. So immediately we're building this idea that, you know, in them that they are capable. Yeah, I am capable of walking by myself. I'm capable of carrying things by myself. I'm capable of taking off my own shoes by myself, which they are very capable of. And then because we show them where to put it, we expect them to put them away neatly. Yeah? Whether side by side on the floor or on a shoe rack. Why? Because it builds order, it builds expectation, it builds awareness of the environment, it builds caring and respect for other people. Yeah? And it contributes to the beauty. Yeah? When things are tidy, it contributes to the beauty. So then when they've taken their things off, our children are shown where to put their bags, also where to put their bottles of water if they bring bottles of water. But not just throw it on a shelf. What do we expect our children to do? Put them nice and neatly on the shelf. It requires a lot of control, doesn't it? Yeah? It requires a lot of self-discipline. We have to help them, but actually our children don't need that much help once they realize that that's the expectation. Oh, it doesn't look very straight. Let's just straighten it. Let's just not put it so close to the edge. And then the children have to go and they have the freedom to choose what to do next. So sometimes children will go and talk to each other. That's life, isn't it? That is work. Our children's work is to also learn how to have conversations, how to communicate, how to listen to each other, how to wait for someone else to finish speaking. So we encourage our children actually to be sociable. But we also encourage them after a while to make another choice. And when they choose activities to do, We show them where things are. We always have our activities in the same place so that every morning the child comes in, they don't have to go digging into a box. Yeah? They don't have to go and ask you, where is this? Where is that? They're independent. They can go and fetch it. We show them how to fetch it, how to carry it, and then to make another choice. Do I need a table? Do I need a floor mat? How big a floor mat do I need for this particular activity? Judgment. We're helping the child to make judgments. If we constantly told our child, oh, you should do this, you need to get a small chowki, no, today you need a big mat, then what have we done? We substituted ourselves for the child's thinking, haven't we? We are doing the deciding. We are doing the judgment. So in the way we interact with our children, constantly, because they have this freedom, is by guiding them to make a judgment for themselves. If they take too small a mat, we don't have to tell them anything, right? They will discover. That's the thing, that discovery. Isn't that more important, that the child discovers that they've made a wrong judgment? How many of us like to be told that we've made the wrong decision? How many of us like to be told we've made the wrong choice? How many of parents still tell us that? We discover it, no? When we have an experience, we make that discovery for ourselves. And it's better, isn't it? We don't lose our self-esteem. We don't have to admit it. We know how to make a different choice the next time. Our children even have the choice. Oh, and then to help them, again, as I said before, children need our help to finish what they start with a bit of encouragement, not by doing. So it's just like in life, when we need help, how does it feel when someone just steps in and does it for us? Or do we prefer the person who helps us to think about what we should do next? Yeah? Try this, try that. Maybe this will work. Maybe that will work. And when you achieve it, when you've overcome that difficulty, that feeling of satisfaction, of achievement, is much greater than that feeling of, oh no, she's done it. Now I don't know how to do it by myself. Right? So we must give that child the opportunity to overcome their challenges, their difficulties, by just giving the right amount of guidance and support. They must experience difficulties. Children must, just like we must, because we must, in order to experience satisfaction, achievement, we have to have difficulty. Does that make sense? Yeah? If everything is always easy and there are no challenges, or someone always comes to solve the problem, we will never experience that satisfaction of I can overcome, I can do it by myself. And therefore, in the way we function in the environment, the children are constantly experiencing responsibility, aren't they? They are responsible for of the environment. They are responsible for their behavior, how they interact with someone. The children also have the choice of when to eat, when to drink in our environments. And we have a lovely snack table. And in some environments where it's possible, our children even prepare the snack. They have that responsibility of getting the food ready for other people, whether it's cutting up the bananas, cutting up the apples, um, whatever it is, making um, a, a mixture, yeah, that goes on the snack for others to eat. That's an amazing responsibility, making sure there's enough. So in some ways, that responsibility is handed over to our children. And they have to judge, how much should I make? How much should I use? What's the quantity? Oh, it's running out. I need to make some more. Yeah. And then they have the choice to eat if they want to or not. But we also help the children to take what they think they can finish. So just like their work, which they choose to do, we give them the choice, we help them to judge how much food to take, and we help them to understand that if they've taken that much, they actually should finish what they've taken. And the wonderful thing about children is once they realize that they've been given that opportunity, they make those judgments very quickly. And we never have any fights about food. You know, I've only known children who I have to say, I think you should actually stop eating now. And maybe we could leave some for, other children. And the other thing about our snack area is that we don't have a big area. We only allow a small group. We don't say how many. That depends on how many children you have. But think about it. It's like going to a coffee shop. Now you get there and the table is occupied. I have to make a choice, right? I have to wait. And I have to wait without disturbing. I cannot stand over them. Yeah. So I can either decide to wait quietly or I can decide to do something else. So again, we are offering the child the experience or an opportunity of making choices. Making choices which also show respect for other people. And then when they finished eating, the expectation is that that area is left clean and ready for the next person to come and sit down to eat. Isn't that amazing? And I can only tell you, children love cleaning. I've known children to actually dirty something in order to clean it. Once children are aware and they know how to, very seldom do we ever have to ask them to do it. But the establishing of all this, the showing the children, bringing it to their awareness, is actually the adult's responsibility at the beginning. But once you've done it, I can only say life gets very easy. The Montessori environment should reach the stage, like a big family with lots of different age children, of functioning by itself without an adult. It's very important that the Montessori environment reaches that for the child's own education, for the child's, so that the child has the opportunity of trying things out for themselves, of learning for themselves, rather than having an adult telling them. I used to have a lovely chair. I used to have an armchair in my environment where I used to sit and have a lovely cup of coffee, because that's the state we want to be in. And the children then know that when they need help, you're there. That's the important thing. My children knew I was there. So, and they knew when to come and ask for help. Isn't that a judgment? Yeah. Knowing when I need help and when I don't need help. So I just want us to remember that experiences for all of us, not only for the children, are the best teachers. In life. Even for ourselves, right? As adults, but even more for the child, because every experience is helping them learn some aspect of life. Whether it's language, the opportunity to hear language related to all situations, not just to, children's stories. When they hear language related to politics even, yeah, problem solving, they're absorbing all language. They're absorbing how human beings use their brains. So the opportunity to listen to adults discussing is an experience we don't often think of as being relevant. Sitting at meal times is one of the most important experiences for children. Hearing adults discussing, hearing adults talking. Experiences, because they have to develop their body movements, they need to be allowed to do everything possible that they can do in order to gain control of their bodies. And in order to learn how to interact with people, to be a social being, they need to have the experience of being with many people, different types of people, variety of people, communicating with them, interacting with them. So I'd just like to just reassure you that even though children may not be in a Montessori environment, experiences are things that are part of our life. And actually Montessori said something very interesting. She said, if you don't have a classroom, the best place to take the child is out into nature. Nature provides the most experience. Life provides the most experience. And to teach a child something from a book or sitting in a lesson, often something children already know, you can lose their interest. You can dampen their interest. Or making children also try to learn something that is beyond them is also a way of losing the child's interest. So we need to expose our children to as much as we can to see what grabs their interest. And their interests may or may not be the same as yours. But think about it. Many of us our interests are based on adults who've been around us, especially when we were children. So the best form of education is really through experiences. So I'd like to stop there and